Now we're live.
Hey,
We're back.
Have you ever heard of this company?
Vision Developmente.
Yeah, I thought I'd sport the new T.
Yeah, it's a small company, isn't it?
It depends who you're talking to.
Unbelievable. I like it.
We can afford these.
There you go. Did you have any input on the design on those?
Zero.
Oh, okay.
That was all the boys.
Oh, all right, good.
Who was it? Metcalf?
I like how they gave it a little Metzger twist with a little bit of the glow.
No, I didn't do the glow.
I like it.
There's our fans.
There we go.
Miss Angelieri, Mr. Church, Mr. Weaver. Hey, do me a favor, guys. Just post anything and continue doing it until we get this up to about 50 views. Just keep pushing us right to the top.
Oh, Mr. Audie from across the pond. From Australia.
So we were on briefly, guys, and we had to log out and start again. And Tass, you were just telling us about how you smeared poop across your mats. Please continue. Yeah,
so the kid kicks, something flies out of his pants. I go up, I look at the floor and see this brown spot and sweep it with my foot. Well, smears all over. So yeah, that was that deal. But the funny part is my instructor. I mean, I think if you've been doing this business long enough, I think it probably happens to everybody, right? But my instructor is a little bit different. So he had the same thing happen, but he went over and he like literally picked it up to look at what it was, and he's like, oh. And did one of those deals and threw it down. So years later, we were at a event in Florida somewhere, I forget where it was, and we were on the beach, and there were Portuguese man o' war, right, jellyfish, all over the shore. We had no idea what they are. So I'm like kicking it with my foot and trying to see what it is, and he takes the thing and picks it up, and I'm like, dude, this is no different than the little poop story that we had back in the martial arts school, just personalities, right? So yeah, that was a weird deal. But I think what might top the cake is a week ago at my team meeting. As a matter of fact, yeah, it was a week ago at my team meeting, a week and a half ago. There was a guy in a wheelchair that came into my martial arts school with his hat on backwards, rolls across the mat. We're in the middle of a team meeting. It was very awkward. And I said, hey, sir, how can I help you? He goes, oh, I'm a martial art master. I said, oh. I said, fantastic. I said, where are you from? He goes, from here. I said, well, do you have a school? Well, yeah, I teach out of my house. I said, oh, like out of the garage or the basement? He says, well, I don't get to the basement much. It's a crawl space. I said, well, what style do you do? And he's like, well, I do lots of different styles. I mean, pretty much I'm on the road. I go all over. I said, oh. I said, okay. And he goes, here, I'll show you. And he grabs my hand and he goes, because I said, I'm Shane Tassoul. He goes, I'll tossle you, like I'll toss you, right? So he grabbed my hand, tried to pull me, little play on words. And I'm like, okay. I said, that was good. That was good. I said, so really, what style are you? He goes, well, let me show you. So he reaches behind him and pulls out, no lie, a ukulele. And starts singing like, I'm in Taekwondo and I do that. Like he's singing the song, and I'm like, oh my God. And then he swings his ukulele at me like his self-defense move. And he goes, and then I kick him in the balls. And that was like the whole song. And I said, wow. I said, that was good. Very nice. I said, well, listen, if we can help you, let us know. I said, but right now we have our team meeting if you want to come back for classes, and kind of like had to escort him out. But it was like, we all looked at each other. It was one of the most bizarre things that we've had happen.
Well, careful, Tess. We're live. And you're bound to insult somebody who does the ukulele self-defense methods on
that. That could very well happen. But yeah, it was.
So let me ask you: does Facebook have rules? Do you want me to talk about some of my experience as a martial arts instructor?
Oh, I know. Yeah, give me. Yeah, there's a couple. Go ahead. We'll find out. We can find out if we get banned. We'll just open up on another platform. It'll be fine.
Just guys, call your friends. We're opening the show with just crazy martial arts stories.
This could be a whole show by itself, by the way. So we may want to blow this topic.
Yeah, should I even talk about it? Hey, look, my name is Michael Perry.
That's what I was saying before.
Why? Oh, I'm German. Oh, hey, how do you spell Michael? Tass, how do you spell Michael?
Miguelito. Miguelito.
What do I do? I'll hit this. Oh, there we go. All right, anyway. So, real quick story, everybody. Come on, you guys can relate. This is the martial arts industry. I was teaching a little dragons class, which was like 3 to 5 year olds. And I would tell the kids, this is, you all right, Tess? You okay?
Go ahead.
This is like 23, 24 years ago. And I would tell them at the end of class, if they were good, we would throw I'd let them throw the balls around a little bit. I had a red one, an orange one, and a purple one. But if you smelled the ball, it smelled like cherry, grape, and orange. So I kept them in the office or whatever. And I'll never forget little Amanda. Oh, she was adorable, little Amanda. And I noticed her dad brought her. Usually it was her mom bringing her to class. So they were stretching and stuff, and she was probably 4 or whatever. And Amanda, you know, it was quiet. They're stretching. The parents are sitting there. And she raises her hand and she says, Mr. Mike. I said, yes, Amanda. She goes, I like your smelly balls. There was silence for a couple seconds in that room. And I just put my finger up like this, walked off the floor into the office, brought out
your smelly balls
and handed them to the parents. And I said, please smell these guys. This is what she's referring to. Yeah, that was one of my moments. That was a good time.
Right? Did the dad laugh?
The dad laughed, but it took a second to process with everybody in the room, including me.
Right, right.
You know, I mean, yeah, it's not often I had people any age tell me that.
Talking about your smelly balls. You know, this is why you have to have wit in this game.
For people tuning in right now,
you might want to go back to the beginning.
Anyway,
that's great.
Yeah, great. That was one. There was another one that I can't say. Yeah.
When you approached the school in the after-school program or the summer camp?
Right. Me and little James and his father.
Yeah.
So
that one's for the next live event that we have. You can tell that one behind closed doors.
Oh my Lord! Look at this. During an intro, I had a guy pull out a small jar of gasoline and a lighter. He told me he needed self-defense training so he didn't have to burn anyone again.
Oh my God. Wow.
I think we hired that guy.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Anyway, it's good. Share your stories.
That's funny, man. Good stuff. Yeah, there's a bunch, man. I mean, if I went back and really started thinking about it, there are a bunch. And there are a bunch that are funny now that were not funny then.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, don't ever put a 6-year-old on a treadmill in your school just to see how fast the treadmill can go. Because I've done that before too with this kid who was a sarcastic little 6-year-old. And I put him on the treadmill and then his little legs couldn't go as fast. And he flopped down, flew into the wall. I jump and I grab him. I'm holding him up as the thing's spinning on my back and it's smoking. And I'm like, shut it off, shut it off. My back was just on fire, burning as I'm holding this kid up until Mike, the other Mike, shut the thing off. And then I bribed him with soda and candy to keep that quiet. Yeah, good times back then. Good times.
Oh, man. Retention was great, by the way. He didn't yell at kids. He just put them on the treadmill to see how fast they can go. John, you keep that behavior up and you're going to go on the treadmill. We're going to see how fast you can.
Well, I learned. Next time I did that, I had to tie their hands on the bars so they wouldn't fly into the wall. Anyway.
Oh, man. That's good stuff.
So anyway, all right. talk. Miss Julie says this is our best show ever. Yeah, I thought we would talk about things that everyone can relate to, you know. Anyway.
Oh my God! Look at Weaver. Had a mom
offer lap dances. Yeah, go ahead.
To pay for her 9-year-old daughter's membership. Daughter told me that mommy was really good and she really wanted to do class.
Most awkward intro ever. That 9-year-old's 16 now and a second-degree black belt. Unbelievable. That's great.
So, Mr. Weaver, you're brave enough to say that. Did you accept the scholarship that mom?
Mr. Weaver, don't forget you're a CMA school. If she ever transfers to Florida, 7 locations.
Man.
All right. That's awesome. Keep them coming, guys.
Unbelievable.
So, anyway, yeah, this is a lot more fun, Tass, talking about awkward martial arts stories. I remember a story where we would do the old traditional testing where they would be a couple hours and we would sit in chairs, you know, at the testing table like this. And we had this teenager come up and she was doing her form, her poomse, if you will. And she started her form and she would make her move, do her move, and do this and start over again. She would start over. Then she did it and she couldn't remember. She would start over. Then the other instructor sitting next to me, as we are facing the parents, the students facing us, the lobby's full with parents. She keeps trying to remember the next thing and wanting to start again. And he leans over to me and he goes, "Not going anywhere for a while?" And he starts doing the Snickers commercials to me as everybody's just standing there watching me laugh at the poor kid, you know? Mr. Church wanted to know to Mr. Weaver, was that student a legacy candidate? So anyway, so Tass.
Man, yeah.
Who's the best consulting company out there? It's Maya. Let's just get that out of the way. Quick, simple, easy.
Done. Let's move on.
Let's move on with more
weird stories. That's right. That's right.
Hey, so the best consulting company, right? Here's the thing. Being that everybody that's watching this is, it seems to be in Maya. But you know what I appreciate with you all, Maya clients? I never really see you guys, I'd call Maya more educational than consulting. Okay. I never see you guys bash any other groups, which is very, very professional and very nice of you all. But here's the thing. Whoever is with any consulting company getting results will say that's the best consulting company. But you guys, Maya included, you have no idea who the best consulting company is unless you've tried all the consulting companies or unless you've reached out and chatted with them or spoke with them. And the thing about our industry is we're afraid to do that. You know, we're afraid to just educate ourselves and find out, because at the end of the day, it is, somebody said it earlier, it's the consulting company that can take you to where you want to go in your business, period. So your culture's got to match, your personality's got to match, and you gotta understand or buy into the systems or the way any consulting group does things. But here's the other big thing, and then Tass, I'm throwing it to you on this, but here's the other big problem. People, so in this industry, let's just, as an example, let's say you're a school owner and you're grossing $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month. You get hooked up with a consulting company and you go from $20,000 a month to $35,000 a month. You're going to think they're the best ever.
Yeah.
The problem is you don't realize you could be doing 60. You know, that's the problem. And you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes people in this industry find a level of success and they'll either say, I don't need a consultant. I've grown my company. We're doing just fine. We're doing great. Or they'll get with a company, Maya included, anybody. They'll go up to another level and they'll say it's unbelievable, but you just don't understand what you're capable of doing. And I think a good consulting company should make sure that they tell you what you're capable of doing, set the standard on where you should be, and level you up to that standard, as opposed to lower the standard or just continue to make you believe that you're doing phenomenal when you're doing okay. Because the only thing that the people compare themselves to is themselves. This is where I was. This is what my school's doing now. These guys are the best, right? Tass?
It's good, Metz. Got it. Yeah, listen, I may go on a limb here when I say, Maya's been around the longest, but I don't think I'm going on a limb. And when you're around the longest, it doesn't equate to necessarily being the best. But what it does equate to is that someone that's been around a long time and has had so many clients, you have the experience, right? And you have the experience not only of your experience, but the experience of all the clients. And when you're talking, like, and you've said this before, when you talk one-on-one with someone, on a regular basis, you learn things that are everyone has things that they're doing well in their schools. And when you can learn to take those ideas and systematize those things and then share those things with other schools and do that over and over and over and over again, it's a different relationship than if you were to go to the local tournament and talk to other instructors and they're talking about how they're doing, because half the things they tell you are BS because they want puffery and they're puffing their chest. When you have the relationship, when you're talking with someone that you're trying to help and better their school, they're transparent, they're honest, they're candid, and that's where the growth can happen. Because like anything, the first place that you grow is you have to be honest with yourself, right? And so when you're honest with yourself, and then you chat with the coach or the consultant about it, well, now there's an opportunity to help and to move forward. And so, I think the experience, not only of the experience of the consultants and running their own schools and making, I've made every mistake that you can possibly make. I've made lots and lots of mistakes. And by the way, some of those mistakes were on purpose, knowing that I was going to do something to try it, to see. And if it didn't work, then at least I knew for the future. When I was younger, that was my mentality. I have nothing to lose. I have a lot of life left. I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work, I move on to the next thing. I move on to the next thing. And that can be a bit of a treadmill as well, no pun intended, for your little 6-year-old. But that can be a treadmill. And you can get on that treadmill and try things, and it doesn't work, and try and go here and go there and be pulling bits and pieces. That can be very dangerous because you don't understand some of the systems behind some of the things that make those things work. So, it would be like if you have someone that goes to a different coach every week and they're going to a different coach for the same thing. I'm going to you for boxing, but I'm going to go to this coach next week for boxing. And they've got a different way or a different style in how they teach, how they want to do things. That really can be a dangerous game to play. There's a time and a place for that, but that can be a dangerous game to play if you don't know what you're in for. So, I think, using your words here, here's an example, of things that happened years ago in class. I remember as a student, when I was a martial arts student in class, and I was probably 11 or 12 years old. And I'll never forget, the instructor in class said, "What's the best style of martial art?" And I'm like, "Taekwondo, sir." And he's like, 50 push-ups. I was like, what did I do wrong? Like, that was what I trained in. It's what I did. And he stood me back up and he goes, "There is no best or superior style. There's only superior martial artists." And that's in one of the Living the Martial Way is the name of the book, actually, which I came to learn years later. Right. But that was his point to me. Like, listen, there's no superior martial art. There's only superior martial artists. And so at the end of the day, the other thing to consider is a consulting company, a coach, can only get you as far as you're willing to go. And, they're there to inspire you. They're there to encourage you. But at the end of the day, in our line of work, we're not standing across you with the mitts up and saying, "Come on, let's go." We will play. We've said this before. There's 3 roles that we play. We're educator, like Mr. Johnson said earlier. We're going to educate you based off of what we know works in the industry. There's times we have to play motivator, right? I had that conversation with Metzger literally this morning, with him, and playing motivator. And there's times where you have to play coach, and that's where you need a kick in the ass. And we can do that over the phone, but ultimately I can't be there by your side, or Metzger can't be there by your side, making sure that you're doing the work. And so sometimes what can happen is, a consulting company can get a bad name because people join the consulting company, nothing happens. But the reality is they didn't do anything, or they didn't put the effort in, so they couldn't reap the rewards of their hard work. And here's what I know what I know is this, is that when people learn and they educate themselves and they understand, have a clear path, and they execute, that's when you start seeing a lot of results happen within your school. So yeah, same concept, there's not a superior consulting company, right? It's the one that works best for you. But then the question you'd ask yourself is, well, what is my best? And do they know my potential, understand my potential? And there's metrics and ways that we can measure that and figure that out, to let you know if you're on the right track or not.
By the way, Mr. Weaver, I've joined other online chats, consultants, and my inbox immediately gets overwhelmed with upgrades, sales pitches, and promises. You guys have a weekly chat, seem more focused on legitimately helping the industry without the expectation of selling something. It's tough to compare consultants when the heart is in it, but it's easy to compare when you see the dollars is the only thing involved. Just my opinion. Right. And that brings up a good point. We're going to post a link up here, guys, so you can sign up for Maya for $1,000 a month, and I'm kidding. Just kidding, everybody. Mr. Lockett, that's something I've been impressed with at Maya. It's obvious that things are well thought out, but the pieces fit together. Every system supports the other systems. Mr. Guzman, Shane Tassoul, my mall location is booming. My mall location is booming. Thanks for the advice.
Oh, good, my friend. That's great to hear. Good for you.
Mr. Stewart, in the beginning, I thought there was so much info. It was overwhelming. I've learned to work faster. That's a trend towards plug this thing in and it will change it all. So nice to have someone to talk about business, and it gives me the confidence to implement. Yeah, that's a good point. When you hear and see everybody else that's doing the same system and you see the results and you hear about how it's worked, it definitely gives you confidence, because changing the way you've done things is always difficult, right? It's scary, especially if you're just getting by, right? Especially like if bills have been tight, or if you're checkbook managing, if your account hits zero every month or close to it, and you pay all your bills, you make a little something, but you have to have another good. It's scary to make a change because you're afraid that if it's the wrong thing, you may get behind, and it takes confidence, and it takes seeing other people, right? But anyway, I mean, look, I'm the first one to say, I'm very confident in what we do and what we know. Extremely confident. That's why I'll tell all of them. I got CMA affiliates and elite clients right now at other groups, right now, like as we speak, right now. I tell them, and go check it out. If it's in your town, if it's not, if you want to go check it out. And then I ask them all the time the following week, tell me, what did you learn? We're extremely confident in what we do. I mean, but I'd want people to check other things out, because at the end of the day, there's one mission here. We got to grow the industry, period, end of story. We got to grow the industry, and it starts with you. We got to grow each martial arts school individually. The most frustrating part, I will tell all of you, the most frustrating part is the majority of our industry is afraid. They're afraid, or they have an excuse on why they don't want to get involved with a consultant or somebody that has done it, whatever you want to call it, or somebody that can show them a more efficient, easier way to scale and grow their business and provide careers for their black belts and have more black belts, by retaining better with retention systems. And, it's like they're afraid, and that's the most frustrating part, right?
Yeah, I think, well, Mets too. I think a lot of people, you can call it fear, right? The unfortunate part is there's a lot of ego in this industry, and you can't help people that don't want to be helped. And I think that's part of it as well. They don't want to be helped, but I think deep down, like if I was to have a one-on-one conversation with a person like that, you can find that they do want help, but sometimes they're just afraid on how to ask for it without looking like they don't know, because people walk around as hanshis and shihans and sabu nims and kwanjing nims, or whatever you want to call it, senseis and gurus, and they don't want to have to ask for help. And so then they just keep, fighting to do it their own way. And there's a better way out there. And I think also people think that, well, what can Shane Tassoul or Mike Metzger teach me that I don't already know, or I can't learn on my own? And maybe the answer is nothing. I mean, maybe that's the answer. I don't know, but you don't know either until you have a conversation, find out where you're at. But it's not Shane Tassoul, Mike Metzger, or Parman, or Klingenmeyer. It's not that. It's what I said earlier. It's about the experience that we've had with so many clients, and what works and what's theory and what's hyperbole versus what actually works, right? We're doing some stuff behind the scenes. We talked about it last week on one of our, I think it was on our foundations call. But we just don't put things out there unless we've tested things and tried them in our own schools first. We use our own schools, as the testing grounds, as the beta test, to make sure that what we put out there is going to work, and figure out the tweaks or changes that need to be made, so that we know it's successful when we implement it in other schools. And so it fits into all schools, not just if you're in a major metropolitan area, or if you're in a small town, or if you're here, it fits in any school and every school. So, I think, Metz, and you and I have had several conversations, and I want to be careful about how I say this, but I appreciate all the comments about us wanting to give back to the industry and just trying to educate and help people, because it's really what it is. I mean, I'm just going to go on a limb, and if I was selfish, I would just say, you know what, I'm not going to have any clients. I'm just going to run my schools and make them the best that they can be, because I'm not in it for the money, for the consulting. That's not where my lion's share of my money comes from, right? It does not come from consulting. So why do I do it? Because I was the kid that went through bankruptcy. I was the kid that went through foreclosure. I was the kid that made all the mistakes and did everything wrong, and somehow found my way out the other side to be able to continue and be able to do what I love to do. And so to be able to help people do that is selfless, because I could just say, you know what, I want to focus all my energy on my own schools. It's kind of like if you're in your own school right now, and you're the owner and you're the chief instructor, and your spouse is the program director, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And maybe you've got a son or daughter that's an assistant instructor, and it's a family business. That's admirable. It's great. But also, I believe if you have people that are ready to move up to the next level and want to be instructors in your school, and there's no opportunity for them to grow, and you can't provide them that opportunity, it's kind of a selfish act as well, because you've built these people all the way up, and now they want to do something. What opportunity can you provide them? And so, yeah, we get on the show, pretty much every week consistently, field phone calls, anything that we can do to help. And it really is about helping. There's several people in the last 2 to 3 weeks that have asked for help and did not pitch anything to them, because they're just not in a position to do those things. But I had a phone call, at a 20-minute consult call, about 2 weeks ago, and the guy called me the next day. I said, listen, you're not ready for any of our programs. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to go get to your 50 students first and tweak these things. And he called me the next day, and he was over the moon, just thrilled with what had happened the previous day. And he's like, I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate it. And listen, that's part of the reason why we do what we do, right? Is it feels good when someone implements and executes, and they see the success, and that gives them the confidence to get to the next level. And if we can help change lives and be able to allow you to be as successful as you want to be in this industry, there's nothing greater than that. And that's really, later on, the hope is that, hey, we left the martial art industry in a better place than we found it. And, someone else will carry that torch, and continue to progress and bring the martial arts level to the next level. I'm having conversations with some of these teenage kids in my schools right now that are assistants. And, when you can't say doctor, lawyer, and martial art instructor in the same breath because people don't take you serious, we've got a lot of work to do. And that's what I would love for our culture. Like, listen, you want to be a martial art? Wow, that's amazing. You should do that. It's an unbelievable opportunity. It's an unbelievable career, as opposed to martial art instructor. Yeah, but what are you going to do for your real job? Like, I'm over it. I've heard it for almost 30 years, and we need to get over that. And we need to make this a profession where people take us as professionals, and people want to become instructors, and they're respected as a result, and not just respected by your people saying yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am in your school, but be respected by the community as a sharp business person and someone who's successful in their town. So,
Tass, you want to address this? Do you have any suggestions for those of us consuming the consulting? What are common issues you see of your customers?
Well, translate that for me. We're consuming the consulting. Does that mean you're consuming consulting from a bunch of different places? And what are the issues of doing that?
Well, while we get clarification on that, common issues we see of our customers is, number one, trying to plug bits and pieces of a system and mix and match into their school, where it's a hodgepodge and now you don't have a system, number one. Number two, overwhelming yourself, trying to do everything at once as opposed to prioritize and understand just where the issue is. So he says, no, just foundations. Well, foundations is a great thing because there's only 4 topics we cover, right? Pricing structure, schedule, mass enrollments, and upgrades, basically, right? So you got to just plug in one until you get it and you're comfortable. Schedule and upgrade programs, for example, have to be worked on behind the scenes. And your students and customers, nobody needs to know anything until you work it behind the scenes and you believe in what it is. Like, you know what you're going to do in those programs. You love this class schedule. It makes sense for retention and revenue. Your class schedule must make sense for retaining your students and generating revenue. And if you don't understand that, try foundations, but you got to work behind the scenes and come up with the perfect schedule. Then we implement the schedule, with a 2-week buffer, and we announce it by telling all of our customers and students on why it will be better for them. Okay. But you can't tell them it's going to be better for you if you just put out a schedule because you learned something from us, right? It has to make sense to you and your school and what you're doing. So the pricing structure is simple. That should be implemented immediately. Mass enrollments, those are simple. You can implement that tomorrow. You may not get the results you want, but you could do it tomorrow and learn from it and get better. And once you have that down, you have it down. I got 2 schools doing well, probably more, but specifically, I know 2 of my schools have mass intro Saturday. One has 32 kids. The other one has over 70.
Woo, gonna be a good day.
So that's over 100 people between 2 locations. And I'd like to see 50 new students this Saturday. 50 minimum, 50. So we'll see how the team does, right? But the mass intros, you listen, you practice it, you understand it, and you go do it. But you got to make sure that you just take things in step. You don't have to take all the ideas and try to implement everything. It won't work. I mean, it's just overwhelming and it's too much.
It can be. But when you have a clear pathway, and for example, Mr. Olson, I know you're in the foundations group. So here's what I would tell you, right? Like, what are the common issues, I think was the question. Yeah, common issue you see. Here's a common issue of the people that are not successful that get consulting. The common issue is they consume information. They're information junkies, and they consume information and they don't take action. So Metz said it. Pricing structure, immediately if it's not done, get it done today. Start presenting it today to all new people, not your old people. Leave them alone, right? Just new people. Number one. Number two, get you're in the group. Start working out your schedule. Write down questions you have about the schedule on the back of the schedule, so that when we have the next call, you can ask questions about schedule. Come up with what your upgrade program is. Get a mass intro scheduled. Well, I can't do that. I have no activities. I got nothing going on. Well, if you've got a lead list of some sort, you can start inviting people to an event this Saturday. If your classes are done at 11, you schedule the mass intro at 11. And if you get 1, you stay and teach. If you get 5, you stay and teach. If you get none, you lock the door and turn the lights off like you normally do, right? So it's always about taking action. And look, when I first came on as a client, as an elite client, I came on at the Super Show in July, and I went back and I revamped everything, and I launched everything September 1st. I'm talking all new uniforms, new upgrade programs, new pricing structure, new schedule, everything. And that's July and August, a month and a half, 2 months. And I launched everything, and we saw a dramatic uptick that we did. So yes, for those of you that are slow, take something, get it implemented, then move on to the next thing, right? I'm this big picture. I want to get it done. That's just me, man. I'm both feet in.
Yes, but you had a huge motivator to get it done. I mean, you were close to your bottom. You needed to do it and do it now. Like, you know, you had a big motivation and drive to just get it.
But if people acted like they were at the bottom, they would see results a lot faster in their school. So sometimes, and we've had this conversation, sometimes schools that think that they're successful, which we talked about earlier, doing $30,000 a month, and they've got 300 students, that is not a successful school, according to me, and knowing what can be done. But to them, it may be a very successful school, but they don't know what they don't know. And that's to your point earlier, Metz.
But by the way, just to clarify that is a successful school in the student community department as far as impacting 300 people and having 300 people, very successful. But as an overall success, a school with 300 students doing 30 or 35,000 a month is not an overall successful school, because you're hitting the student mark, but you're not hitting the revenue mark. I mean, you're just not, right? And we don't want you to just be making all the money and only have 50 students, but we don't want you to have 300 students and not making the money.
Right.
We want you to have all of it. And then you get into quality. What is the quality of your students? You know, and what service are you offering? I mean, that's the other part that people get confused with. Like, well, we have 300 students, that's very, very good. That's very good. But we're running a business. Get over it, everybody. We're running a business. And it's okay. It's okay to run a business as long as you don't sacrifice your art or your service. Go ahead.
And I think part of it too is you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable and making decisions, and that's part of it. And sometimes we get in this comfort zone and we don't want to make a choice or a decision because it might be a temporary, potentially. We don't see this very often, but it might be a half step backwards. And not even from a financial or student standpoint, but from a mental standpoint, most of the times they feel like it's a step back because it's the unknown. They don't understand it. So it's a little bit of a step backwards, but it's 2 giant steps forward in the big scheme of things. So, Mr. Johnson said this earlier about, us talking about the success of others and comparison. Where did he put it? Comparison is the thief of joy, right? Listen, you can always find someone you're doing better than, and you can always find someone that you're doing worse than. And at the end of the day, it's about you and your numbers and your school and what it is that you're able to do. I'm sure a lot of you in this industry, when I was younger, and I was, head instructor in my schools and did everything for the first 15, 20 years, I got approached a lot by multi-level marketing people. I don't know if that happened to you, Metz, but a lot, because we're speakers, we're in front of people, we appear to be extroverts. So they think, well, if I get this guy on my team, our team would just blow up. And then I did fall in the trap of doing some of those multi-levels, right? And went to a couple conferences, and I would go to these conferences, and there's people that are getting on stage and they're getting their awards for $50,000 a month and $100,000 a month. I'm like, I was blown away, but I checked out because I'm like, it's so far above where I was. Like, there's no possible way I could ever do that. And so I just checked out, and I didn't pay attention. So that's why, you'll hear us talk about the successes of schools, right? But there's successes from the school that went with 3 students teaching in the gym to 100 students in a commercial location in 12 months. There are schools that went from doing 50,000 to 130,000 a month, and there's everything in between. And you got to find, this is why, like when we do conferences, this is why I think our conferences are so amazing, because you get in these conferences and you have dinner, you have breakfast, you have lunch, and you start talking to people, and their story resonates with your story. And now you find someone who is exactly where you were, and they can relate with you, and it gives you that motivation to be like, okay, I found someone that's exactly where I was, and they were able to get through it, and that becomes your motivation, because now that somebody else did it, and that they were in the exact same place, it gives you the motivation that you need to move forward sometimes. And that's why I love the events that we do, because it's like-minded people, and there's all different success stories in there. And people,
by the way, if you haven't registered for the Tampa event, it's October 22nd and 23rd in Tampa. My Elite, if you want to check out a conference, or by the way, for all of you who are in the Elite program, tomorrow is the last day to register for that. So make sure you get with Roger at Maya. And if you're not a My Elite member, you can call Roger at Maya to see if there's any space available for guests, as we only have limited space for guests to attend, and you're allowed to attend one of those or 2 of those. Two Elite events ever, right? You're allowed to attend?
I think it's 2, yeah.
2? So anyway, check it out. Check it out, everybody. But there it is, guys. I mean,
well, do you want to answer this question? Do you equate student value to what your full potential for your school is?
Yeah, financially full potential. I equate student value. I mean, based on all of the data we have from schools, we know where a school should be, but depending on how many students you have, we know what you should be grossing at minimum with whatever number of students you have. And that's how we know if you're firing on all cylinders in your school. So for financial potential, I would look at a student value, right? What is your average customer worth in your school? And that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely how I would.
And you said it, Metz, but 2 things, right? Number one, not what was your best student value for 1 month out of a 12-month snapshot, but what is your student value over the course of that 12-month snapshot? Number 1, and number 2, if you're sitting on 50 students and you have a $200 student value, no, I mean, yes, from an internal business system standpoint, you're doing great, but you need more students. So it's one of the metrics that we would use to equate what your full potential would be at your school, right?
And if you have a lot of students and you're grossing a lot of money, let's say in your business, then we'd look at your attrition. Because if you're enrolling 40 people a month, but your attrition is still 7%, then something's wrong on the floor.
Right.
I mean, we got to look at everything. You cannot just, everybody can play with numbers and make themselves look so successful. I got 400 students. Well, great. What are you grossing? How many students do you enroll each month? Not because we want to challenge people, but we want to help them. You're going to have holes somewhere, right? So what I like to do is categorize the different areas in a school, and whoever's doing, the average of the best in each category. Like, why is it that these people can consistently enroll X number of students a month in high density areas, in low density areas, in wealthy areas, in non-wealthy areas? What are they doing? Well, they're doing this. They're doing a lot of internal marketing. They have this. For example, they got a great referral program. They get a lot of students on birthday parties. Well, I'm not going to say, well, referral programs don't work when I'm sitting there talking to somebody that says I get 15 students a month just from referrals. How can I say it doesn't work to that person? I mean, it makes no sense when you hear a consultant say referral programs don't work. What I would say is, well, they didn't work for you, but they're working for this guy and this guy and this person and this and this and this. What are they doing that I didn't do?
How are you? Tell me more. Exactly.
So then we want to look at that, right? And then we want to teach that so everybody can choose whether or not they want to follow the recipe, follow the formula, you know? It's all right. I still hear you. Yeah. There he is.
It's the most bizarre thing, man. But this is why, you know, to answer that question also, is this is why we're so big, and it's not a sexy topic, but on measuring and quantifying statistics in your school. You know, you've heard the term, right? Figures don't lie, but liars figure. And at the end of the day, your figures aren't going to lie, right? So whatever your figures are, we talked about attrition, we talked about student value, we talked about student count, we talked about enrollments. You got to track that stuff because you can help yourself substantially when you understand your numbers. Look, if you have 20 leads a month and 18 of them are showing up and 6 of them are enrolling, you can see what the problem. You don't need a consultant to tell you what the problem is. You have an intro lesson problem. You don't have a confirmation problem. You don't have a phone problem booking the appointments. You have an introductory lesson problem, an enrollment conference problem, right? Likewise, if you've got 20 leads and you get 5 people to show up and 4 of them enroll, you don't have an enrollment problem. You have a confirmation and rapport building problem on the phone, getting people to come to your school. But that's why you should track your numbers so you can help yourself. And then sometimes when you track your numbers and you've got all these data points, there are times where you don't see something, these 2 numbers that may correlate, and there's some warning signs that can be happening. And that's where we can help out, where we look at it and we go, okay, here's what you need to watch, right? Like, you know, it's like on the dashboard of your car, like, hey, here's what we need. There's a check engine light on. We got to make sure that we're paying attention to it because here's probably what's going to happen. Or, hey, it looks like you're running a little bit hot. Like, here's what's going to happen. We've been down that road before, and we can see potential trends in the trajectory of where the school is going to go up or down based off of those numbers as well. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but, you know, if you're not doing it, I would encourage you, you just need to start doing it, you know, but you got to find the reason why, because you're not going to do it because Tassoul said to do it. You're going to do it because there's a reason why to do it. It's because you want to better understand your business so that you either A, can grow it, right? Or B, you know where your weaknesses are so you can fix it because you have this healthy competition with yourself going on. You know, ultimately it's you that's going to make you successful.
That's it. That's it. And you know what, Tass?
Yeah.
I think that, you know, we're going to be back in 2 weeks, everybody. 2 weeks we'll be back. Next week we will not be on. I'm out of town, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. But I think in 2 weeks we need to come up with topics that everyone can relate to. And by the way, I think it'll build the audience a little bit. We got to get more of the industry involved, like the craziest things to happen as a martial arts instructor. And Mr. Weaver, the lesson of the day is don't smell balls. The lesson of the day is smelly balls equals higher retention.
And just don't let parents of kids know their kids smell your balls.
We just got canceled.
Hey, I am curious though, because rather than us brainstorming something, which we will do, hey, this is a classic Metzger. Watch this. You guys post ideas on what you think we should talk about next week or 2 weeks from now that would get everybody involved, right? Like what topics would you like to see?
Well, you know what? We always want to come on and educate and give people tips. The industry tells us they don't want to learn, right? I mean, it's the same, guys, we appreciate you. It's the same group every time that jumps on here. You guys are serious about growing your business and, you know, but it's got to be things that are relatable, right? And I think we should get everybody on here chatting about the craziest stories that you've had happen as a martial arts instructor, you know, in your school.
Well, Metz, this is classic case. Here's another lesson, right? You can't just give students in your school what you think they need. You also have to give them what they want. So what Metzger is saying right now is we've been giving you lots of things you need for your school for the last 5, whatever it's been, 4 or 5 years or whatever it's been, right? But also we need to give you what you want. And so if there's something that you guys want us to talk about or want to hear a discussion on, or that's relatable, you know, let us know, and we'd love to see it. Because when we get all these topics in here, and I was waiting till we get a bunch of topics. then what'll happen is, this is Metzger, when he calls me up like, Tass, what should we do for a topic? And then I give him 3 ideas, and then we don't pick one of them. So don't be offended if he doesn't pick one of your topics, everybody.
Well, like this is a great topic, Mr. Olson. More about picking a location for his studio. Great topic. Everybody should know this, but people aren't going to tune in to watch it. And so this is a question I would say private message Tassoul. And do a one-on-one, you know, and ask that, right? Metz is the salesperson. Tass is the overpowering, self-centered daddy black belt that thinks the program sucks and you charge too much. Metz has to answer every complaint that Tass comes up with.
So he wants us to role play. All right. That's awesome.
Very good.
That's awesome. Yeah, we could do role playing. We've talked about this in the past about doing, you know, some sort of a bringing somebody on and doing a consulting call with you, bringing you on and say, hey, listen, how can we help? And then we take you through just like we would, you know, somebody in a consulting call. That could be an option. I know if we said, should we charge belt test fees or not, we're going to get a bazillion people. You know, should we do contracts or not? Should we get a bunch of people, right? But those things have been hashed out so many times. You know, it's just, it's interesting, right? It is interesting.
Yeah.
Don't pick the place next to a stripper joint, or your partners will want to trade lap dances for classes. Oh, man. You know, I think you guys, and I really think this, right? I think you guys like to hear.
Hold on, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think you guys like to hear some of the stories about, you know, people, what Metz, me, whatever, because you know, here's the thing, like we all were in the same spot. I mean, for some of you that heard Metzger's story before, or you've heard my story, it's not like we started our school and we were doing $40,000, $50,000 a month in our school. We all came from the same roots. And so, you know, I talk about, and some of you have heard the story about me and my Irs debt that I had, right? I mean, I remember being out of the Super Show, and I remember swiping my card for a dinner the night before I came home, and I got declined. It's because the IRS levied all my bank accounts and took all my money. So if that's happened to you, it's happened to me, man. And I had literally had enough money in my pocket, cash, to pay my bill that night, got home, and then had to go meet with a local IRS agent and try and get things taken care of. So stories are relatable, and we can tell all kinds of stories, but we'd love to hear what you guys come up with.
Well, look, some of these. Oh, look, real quick, Mr. Lightfoot, teaching. That is a badass name for a Taekwondo guy, though.
It is.
Mr. Lightfoot, teaching good martial artists how to be great salesmen. I don't want you to be a great salesman. It's teaching you how to build rapport and convey what you really believe in. And understanding, and I just did a big program director meeting on this yesterday, understanding the difference between values and benefits and just being able to convey that. I don't want you to have to be a salesman. I mean, that's a whole system in itself, but you know, just believing in what you're doing and why people should be involved, you know, like in martial arts. What is it? What's the value in doing martial arts? That's what you need to understand. And you need to be able to convey that to adults, kids, parents, whoever you're doing with. Mr. Kevin, most important 3 systems every school needs to operate successfully. There's obviously a lot of systems, but starting with the 3 biggest ones that the average school owner can implement. That it's not about there's 3 things you have to do in your school, which is recruit students, retain them, and generate revenue. As far as what systems, what are the most important systems every school needs? Not every school needs the same top 3 systems, because if you're a school that's enrolling 2 people a month, well, one of the top systems is going to be recruiting, and then we got to break it down. Well, is that getting more people in your pond? Is it getting more people in your building? Is it converting the people that are in your building? Because that's going to be a top 3 as opposed to the school that's enrolling 40 a month but losing 40 a month. So listen, don't let anybody try to tell you what 3 important systems you need, but you need a system, a great system to recruit students, retain students, and generate revenue. You pick your own 3 systems. Of course, we can consult on that and help, but we got to dive in deeper on where the problem is, because I don't know where the problem is in your school.
Mr. Swift, Mr. Kevin, I've seen some of your Facebook videos you've been putting out, man. Great job. Keep up the great work. They're awesome.
3 reasons why this won't work in your town. Yep. Because there's only one reason. There's only one reason this won't work in your town. You. I mean, you got to get out of your own mind, right? And that's important. And you guys may say, well, that's not true. It is true. But there's a lot of people that believe, well, my town's different, my thing. But when you've worked with one-on-one schools in the poorest areas of this country to the wealthiest, and we're all getting them to charge the same amount of money, still doing all the same systems, and still getting success. The difference is not all of you are in a town or in a school that will do $100,000 a month. That you won't, depending on where you're at.
Right.
But every one of you can be doing very well financially, regardless of where you're at. But there's limits, and we can. That's something we dive into when we go through.
This is a good one.
Yeah, how to make the jump from 50 to 100 to 150 to 200 plus students. I know a lot of schools get stuck trying to get to the next level. It's not hard either, sir, when you know your deal. But that's a great topic, right?
Yep. Yeah, great stuff, guys. Great stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mr. And here, doesn't matter how good of a martial artist you are if you're not good with business. If you want to provide careers for yourself and for your people, you need to know that. And Mr. Whitefoot says more so how to word things so that they get results.
You're not going to find scripts with the old Mets, but you will find bullet points and key phrases to use, right? So that's a little bit different.
People get stuck at the same. How long should it take for healthy growth? Healthy growth, it could take you 30 days, 40 to 60 days. And it all depends on, do we have the bench strength? Do we have the support staff? Do we have the facility? Can you go from 100 to 200 students in 90 days? Yes, you can. I mean, it's very possible that my location that has 75 kids coming Saturday will sign up 50 by themselves. That's possible.
Right.
This in one day. I mean, that's very possible. We've had it happen. But you got to be able to manage that growth, right? Or your retention and attrition is gonna be a problem. I mean, but there's not just simple answers to any of these things. But by the way, if there were simple answers, then everybody would be doing great. You have to understand that, right?
Right on.
Yeah, there you go, Miss Geely. And how does martial arts success?
Read the next one.
Higher gross, yes. How to translate higher personal net worth. Mr. Johnson, this is why in the elite program, we had a group of people that approached us 13 years ago, maybe, and said, hey, we don't need to know how to enroll somebody or keep stats or do the next buddy event. We're grossing 100K plus in a single location, or I have multiple locations. We got that. They asked us, how do we grow our net worth and generate passive income? How did you guys, they were talking to myself and Frank Silverman, how did you guys do what you're doing? How do we get there? Well, and it was then that we gave birth to the wealth program. So we have a wealth program where schools that are maximizing their potential in their business and generating a lot of money, because it's an interesting question. We've seen school owners that are grossing $10,000, $20,000 a month go to $50,000 a month and still feel like they have no money. Well, because their spending is out of control. They're not investing. And so the wealth program has nothing to do with the martial arts business. Zero. We don't talk about the martial arts business. We talk about investing into commercial real estate, residential real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, retirement accounts, how to protect your assets, your insurance policies, your life insurance policy, everything, your expenses. What interest rates do you have on your loans? Do you have debt? Where's the debt? That's the stuff we talk about in the wealth program. So that's a whole, no, there is not a wealth foundation. Well, you know what? There's a wealth foundations type program. I think they might have, isn't there something, Tess, where you can sign up for something in Silverman? He does a monthly call on a different topic. And there may be a price where if you just want to get in on those calls, you can. But Mr. Johnson, reach out to Roger Cowan at Maya, because that goes through Maya. Even though we run it, we do it, Silverman does that, it goes through Roger at Maya. Okay?
Right.
He can answer that for you. But I would say don't even worry about the wealth program unless your school's doing really well. There used to be a requirement if you wanted to be in the full wealth program, you had to be netting at least 6 figures, grossing an average of 30,000 plus a month in your school, or own one piece of commercial real estate property in order to really get the full value. Okay.
Right. Right on. Yep.
And what does that mean? Tass knows where I'm at.
Yeah.
I know Roger Cowan.
Yep. He's good. We got him.
Okay. All right.
Right
so
on.
Anyway,
good stuff. Good stuff.
Good stuff, guys. Thanks. Oh, yeah. The sign you have a good consultant is their willingness to talk to you, even if you pass the time limit. That sounds like an experience comment.
Right on. Right on.
All right. Well, guys, thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and we'll put the topic out there. But I think we're going to do something fun and see if we can't get more of this industry to participate and grow and open their minds a little bit. Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Hey, everyone. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. Appreciate you guys as always. And look, let's go, take some action and finish September strong here, and know that this is a time of year where lots of people are getting enrolled in martial arts. And, let's get in front of that and let's do the best that we can. And do yourself a favor. If you find an excuse creeping into your mind, get rid of the excuse and just take action. I gave this mission yesterday to my team. I want you to book 2 appointments for the future, number 1. And number 2, I want you to go through and make a list of whatever revenue that we can collect yet this month based off of where people are at. So we don't need to get into that, but let's, no excuses. Let's hit whatever our goals are and move forward.
Yep, there it is. Thank you, guys. Have a great one.
All right. Appreciate everybody.
In a couple weeks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Metz. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tess.